Hi everyone, this is cellulose. There is a common belief that moss only grows on the north side of trees. Today, let's find out if that is true. Before we talk about this, let's first learn some basic facts about moss. First, moss does not have a vascular system, so they cannot transfer water throughout the plant from the roots. Actually, they do not even have true roots. These root-like things are called rhizoids. Rhizoids are just a filament that anchors the moss to the ground. Instead, they directly absorb moisture into cells through a process called osmosis. What is osmosis? Osmosis is when water passes through a semi-permeable membrane, which is a membrane that only allows water to pass through into the moss. That's why moss have to remain in moist places. Without enough water, moss can quickly dry out. That's why moss tends to live in very shaded areas, where water won't evaporate as easily. So in very hot and dry conditions, moss will not be able to survive. So back to the question, does moss only grow on the northern side of trees? This image is not to scale, but as you can see, as the Earth rotates around the sun's rays usually hits the Earth nearly perpendicularly to the equator. That means that the sun's rays hit the northern hemisphere from the south and hits the southern hemisphere from the north. Due to this, trees in the northern hemisphere above the Tropic of Cancer will usually receive sunlight from the south, and the northern side of the tree will usually be shaded. Since moss likes shade, moss will usually grow on the northern side of trees in the northern hemisphere. However, in the southern hemisphere, below the Tropic of Capricorn, the trees will get sunlight from the northern side and will be shaded in the southern side. So in the southern hemisphere, moss will instead grow on the southern side of trees. So that's the answer. Moss will likely grow on the northern side of trees in the northern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere, moss will instead grow on the southern side of trees. But what about the equator? How will moss grow if the sun hits the equator nearly perpendicularly? Many different things can happen actually, depending on the specific conditions. Many rainforests, such as the Amazon rainforest, are present at the equator. In such humid conditions and areas shaded by so many trees, the direction of the sun will have little impact on moss growth. Lots of moss will be present in such areas. If there were just a single tree at the equator, then moss growth might depend on the resilience of the specific type of moss. Either way, moss will tend to grow at the base of the tree, where there is most shade. So yes, you can find the direction you are facing based on moss. Thanks for watching! Comment your ideas about moss on the equator down below. Happy mossing!